awkward moments. But in the fourth quarter, there was some big time plays on offense and defense. How was that from your vantage point? Just the last 6 or 7 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Kelly, you're totally right about how disjointed it was in the first half. And it takes guys a minute to learn how to play together. And this was just game one. So it took them 3 quarters to kind of figure it out a little bit. And the fourth quarter was good. You know, they were kind of figuring it out, how they can make each other better and how they can let each other play to their strengths. Getting the ball up the floor a little quicker, I think, helps both guys. If we have options ahead of the ball and aren't playing against a set defense, or if they can have some sort of action where they're playing together, that is good stuff for us. So it's a work in progress for sure. And as you saw in the first half, it was very much disjointed, but they came together in the second half and did a great job on both ends of the floor. The defense was really, really good in the second half.
Adam Spolling.
Stephen, on the defense, they went from 14 second chance points and 10 offensive rebounds in the first half to 2 offensive rebounds and no second chance points in the second half. Did you feel like your initial defense was pretty solid the entire game and just the difference was in the second half you cleaned up the boards?
Yes and no. The first half, I was definitely disappointed in our ability to get loose balls, 50-50 balls, and the rebounding game. And we mentioned it at halftime because I believe at the time they had 10 offensive rebounds and we had 12 defensive rebounds. So that obviously is not a recipe for success, and we needed to change it. And, you know, Cuz was great as far as getting the rebounds and making sure that when they missed, we could secure it and go, because we still want to play with pace, but we got to get the rebound first, and it has to be a group effort. I mean, Dave Nwaba did a great job on the boards as well, and that's got to be a focus of ours because our defense is becoming pretty good, you know, on the ball and the pick and rolls, and obviously Beal is a hard guy to guard, and Westbrook is hard to guard. But if we do our job on those guys, we got to come up with the basketball, and that was definitely one of our main talking points at halftime.
Jonathan Fagan.
With another game, the third in a row where you got a big boost off the bench, how much of that is just these guys who've been playing basketball, or they've been playing it together, as opposed to just about everybody else who was on the court tonight?
Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah, that's a good way to kind of say it. They've been here the whole time. They've been playing together for the most part for the whole time, whether they've been in the starting lineup together or coming off the bench together, and they do have a little bit of continuity. And that group really has a defensive mindset, and they get us going defensively. So as you see, what Nwaba was a plus 20, and Sterling was a plus 22 in his minutes. And it really is the defensive end, because then we can go and create some offensive opportunities just off our pace.
Do you like using them in the small ball lineup, or is that something that you have to now because you're down one center?
Both. I like it, and I have to right now. But, we got to figure out a way to kind of do both, because the small ball is good. And but obviously Cuz is playing great, and Christian's playing well too. So got to figure it out.
Thank you.
Ali Kambajani.
Hey, Stephen, with how much emphasis team defense is put on in maintaining their shell, especially getting back quick in transition, how important is it for your offense to attack early? And were you happy with how John and Victor attacked in transition today?
Yeah, it's very important for us to attack early, and we're trying to get pass ahead so we can kick it ahead and attack early, so we're not dribbling the ball up every possession. And we didn't really do that as much today. So it's going to be up to me to kind of watch the film tonight and get that figured out, because we do need to play with better pace while those guys are on the floor, and I got to give them a way to do it. I also have to watch film with them so they can see the opportunities where maybe we weren't running with vision, or running with intention to get ahead of the ball so we can attack. And they're both such good attackers when they get it, that we have to make sure that that's a part of what we do.
Thank you.
Crystal Saltis.
Hello, Coach. Tonight you allowed 36 points on defense. The Wizards made 20 turnovers and you had 13 steals. What these numbers mean about your effort tonight, and how important was the presence of DeMarcus Cousins on your game plan?
Yeah, Cuz is always a big part of the game plan, especially as a starter. But his rebounding tonight was huge. And then the threes that he made kind of separated the game. You know, it was 5, 3, 7, and then he made a 3 and got it to 10, I think, and made another 3, and we were pretty good to have a chance to win the game. So he was great. But the defensive effort in the second half to hold that team to 36, and they're a very good offensive team, to force the turnovers that we forced and get 24 points off those turnovers is really big for us, because like I said, right now our offense is a little bit disjointed. So creating turnovers so we can play a little bit faster is good for us.
Ben DeBose.
With regards to Cousins, you mentioned obviously how well he played tonight, and honestly, these past 3 games with him in the starting lineup. What's different about him now that he's got the starters minutes, and how do you translate that to the bench once Christian comes back? I assume that's relatively soon. How do you take the comfort level that DeMarcus has shown you the last 3 games and transfer that to the bench role in a few days?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do, but I think the fact that he's had some success over these last 3 games will help him moving forward, and making sure that he has enough time on the floor to play well, and making sure that we're doing things so he can play to his strengths. You know, it's a harder role coming off the bench. It just is. And when you're a starter and you're given more leeway, and your minutes are up, and you're not playing behind Christian Wood, who is really playing well, it's a lot easier for Cuz as a starter. But to have that talent, to have that grit, to have that defensive intensity and size and rebounding coming off our bench, it really makes us deep. So, yeah, hopefully the success that he has can translate to his position coming off the bench. And we're just going to have to work on making sure that he gets the minutes that so he can do it.
We'll take 2 more. Kelly Iko.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Daniel House. Obviously, offensively, he was kind of rusty. He haven't not played in so long. But defensively, how did you see that? Because it seemed like he was very aggressive at the point of attack. He switched well. He had his hands out. And how was that for you, just seeing him progress defensively?
Yeah, it was great to see him on the floor. I didn't realize he hadn't played since our second game against Sacramento. That seems like forever ago. So for him to come out and after just one practice with the team and really just take the defensive role and do a great job with it, you know, the offense will come, but he was one of those guys that we had out there to kind of spark us defensively, and he'll only get better from as we go forward.
And last question, Adam Wexler.
Coach, just thinking back to what you were just saying with DeMarcus going back to the bench eventually, how noteworthy is it for you that Eric was able to string all these starts together, then go to the bench tonight and just continue doing what he's been doing?
Yeah, that was great. And hopefully it'll be the same for Cuz. You know, that's a really good point. Because Eric had been starting and playing well and having the ball come to him. And, you know, coming off the bench is different and harder. And he just stepped right in and continued doing the things that he does, which is put pressure on the defense, make shots, really do a good job on the defensive end. But he got to the free throw line, and as you're kind of teetering or the lead is going down and we get into the bonus, that really helps. And he is just a downhill guy who can put a ton of pressure on the defense as a starter or a backup. So his scoring punch off the bench really makes us pretty deep with, Nawaba and House and Brown and eventually Cuz. That will be a pretty deep team.